visible.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So the topic given to me is nutrition and brain, which I was really very apprehensive about because it's like so much of information. So I was wondering how I should go about it. And so what I did was, and also Professor Dr. R. Parani told me that it is only for 15 minutes. So I have done the best that I can do. And so I thought I'll just talk about the relationship between diet and mental health. It's becoming increasingly important, not only for treatment of psychiatric disorders, but also for normal health or whatnot. So this has actually formed the basis for the concept of brain foods, which seem to have an impact on the mental performance. And when you look at brain health, it's not independent of the body's general health status. It's not as if you have some special kinds of food for the brain. Overall health, overall good nutrition, overall physical health will be beneficial for the brain also. So we don't look at it as a standalone thing in normal life. So basically, we are looking at a diet rich in saturated fat, refined carbohydrates, high calorie density, with combined with overeating behavior, which leads to lifestyle diseases. We all know we are talking so much about lifestyle diseases. That seems to be the risk factor for impairing brain performance as well. So I thought I should talk about the mind diet. It's got on so much. It's nothing but the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet. And when the first speaker, Dr. Parani, was talking about the Mediterranean diet, there are so many avatars for this Mediterranean diet. But at the end of the day, it's just that you need a lot of healthy food, and we can do an Indian Mediterranean diet also. It's just a name given. Only thing is we have to pull out certain things and make the diet just like the Mediterranean diet. And DASH diet, I'm sure all of you all know about it. It is dietary approaches to stop hypertension, which can also be found, which can also be followed in the Indian scenario. So basically, they did a lot of trials to find out how the mind diet seems to have an impact on the global cognition. It seemed to slow down the global cognition. So as I said, the Mediterranean diet in its original form is high intake of monounsaturated fat, olive oil. So most people say that olive oil is there are certain things that we don't like to use. We are used to sesame oil, we are used to sunflower oil. How can we change? No need to change. All we need to do is to find out the right combinations of oil, which will be as good as olive oil. Our nalena is supposed to be a good combination with groundnut oil. The National Institute of Nutrition, in their website, they've given you lots of combinations of oils that you can use, which will be helpful. And here we are looking at monounsaturated fat. That is the main thing for olive oil. Vegetables, fruits, plant proteins, whole grains, and fish, and definitely a low intake of red meat, refined grains, and sweets. So I just thought I'll put up this slide where it is something that very easily we can follow. All we need to do is, if you are a vegetarian, continue being a vegetarian. Try to increase your protein in different ways, like the yogurt and cheese, in the sense the Indian cottage cheese or whatever. This really helps a lot. And DASH diet, it's working very well. I'm sure most doctors will agree with me that it's nothing but a diet rich in fruits. You're cutting back on the fat and you're including lots of fruits in the diet so that you increase the potassium, decrease the sodium. So that also, these two put together is the mind diet, which now seems to be catching. I thought I should bring that. And the main crux, I wanted to talk about the gut-brain axis. So there is lots of evidence for critical interactions between the intestinal microbiota, the host genetics, environmental influence, mental health, or psychiatric disorders. So what we believe is we have to establish the gut-brain axis, which starts actually during the first 1,000 days of life. Like, it is not possible to talk about the entire lifestyle approach regarding nutrition and brain. It will take a very long time. So I am not going into that, but since it's close to my heart, I thought I should mention about the first 1,000 days of life, where the major gut-brain axis is being worked out over there for a lifetime. So this term is actually a kind of a communication network that connects the gut and the brain. And both of them are connected both physically and biochemically in a number of different ways. I don't have to tell you, this is something that you already know. This entire exercise is only to reiterate certain facts so that if there's something that we have forgotten, just to bring it into food. And so in that connect, I thought I'll just talk only about dysbiosis. So dysbiosis is very common. Most of us would have gone through that also. It is an imbalance of the gut microbial community that is associated with disease. It's just that some members of the bacteria increase and some decrease, leading to an imbalance, leading to dysbiosis. And today dysbiosis, so I'm linking over here to the neurology over here. So dysbiosis, there are lots of studies. There's just one study that I picked up to show that there is a growing body of evidence that it may cause depression, although the mechanisms are not clear. Throughout, there are only lots of hypotheses, but we don't know the mechanism. So dysbiosis actually occurs in the gut. One reason, there are many reasons. Because I'm talking about nutrition, I thought I should talk about this. Increase the fat and sugar, it's going to cause dysbiosis. Low in fiber, we all know why low in fiber can cause dysbiosis, because the bacteria or the microbes survive only on fiber. So if you give them fiber, they will grow, they will work for you, they will give you all the benefit that you want. So you have the good ones over there and the bad bacteria will be suppressed. That's how we live our life throughout. So this is the link, and I thought I'll also, since it is a talk on nutrition and brain and degenerative diseases, I thought I should talk a little about multiple sclerosis also. So there are a lot of studies to say that patients with MS, they also exhibit gut microbial dysbiosis with both enrichment and depletion, meaning to say enrichment of the bad bacteria and depletion of the thing. So what is the role of diet or food in shaping a healthy gut for a healthy brain? It's very simple, healthful eating. So what is healthful eating? A balanced diet, phytochemicals. Phytochemicals are chemicals found in plants, antioxidants, polyphenols, fiber, and traditional food. So what I have done is I put the phytochemicals, antioxidants, polyphenols together in one thing. And also, always for dysbiosis, say no to antibiotics without a doctor's prescription, because most people do that. Trans fat, processed food, sugary foods, and beverages. So this is your trans fat, and today most of the youngsters, they are so addicted to this. Even if you go to any school anywhere in the world, I mean, especially in most of the close to schools, you will see definitely a puff shop selling all these things. These can be had once in a while, maybe when a person is hungry and there is no other food to eat, but on a regular basis, it is going to cause dysbiosis. Then processed food, anything that goes into a packet, gets packaged, is a processed food. And sugary foods, which we are very fond of, this should be only a very occasional thing in one's diet. And sugary beverages, I think these are the most dangerous one. Most of us have an idea that drinking juices is very healthy. Eating a fruit by itself is better than having fruit juices. That we need to tell our young population at all points of time. So going on to healthy eating, very simple, a balanced diet. So the plate over here that we have put is by the National Institute of Nutrition. If you look at this, actually sugar doesn't figure at all. So far, that's their thing actually. So, and if you look at the plate, half the plate is filled with fruits and vegetables. Less than 3/4 is cereals and all the other food that you eat, and pulses, one median, and there is a median for nuts and seeds also, and fats and oils. Fats and oils are very important, otherwise we cannot absorb any of the fat soluble vitamins, or I need not have to say that to neurologists about lipids and brain. So phytochemicals, antioxidants, and since we know a lot about beta carotene, vitamin A, and things like that, I thought I'll pick out lutein and zeaxanthin. They also belong to the carotenoid family only. Only thing is they don't have any vitamin activity. Lots of studies have proved that they seem to have an effect on the brain function and in the brain structure of older adults. Very simple. All you have to do is eat a lot of green leafy vegetables and fruits. Basil. Basil is our tulasi. So if we go back, sometimes we forget our tradition. Washing 1 or 2 tulasi leaves and having it probably will put a lot of lutein and zeaxanthin into the diet. Peas, bell pepper. Bell pepper is a capsicum that we talk about, kodamuraga, especially the red and the green variety. Pistachios also. In the nuts, it's only pistachio which seems to have lutein and zeaxanthin. And as I said, all green leafy vegetables, spinach, broccoli, peas, lettuce, corn also yellow in color. Egg yolks, they are a very good source of lutein. And the strangest thing is, if you take a egg yolk as compared to vegetables, the bioavailability is greater. That's mainly because of the fat content in the eggs. Most of the carotenoid pigments, they are not most, all of them are fat soluble. So unless you have fat or whatever, it will not, the bioavailability will not be there. And today egg yolks or eggs as such have become, they have been treated very badly, that they increase the cholesterol and so on and so forth. It is okay to have them in moderation. And sulforaphane again is a phytochemical found in cruciferous vegetables, which sometimes like cabbage, cauliflower or whatever, they also seem to be like, a lot of in vitro, in vivo studies have shown that they prevent brain diseases like stroke, traumatic brain injury, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. So they are also, they have got neuro protective effects also. So cabbage, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, turnips. Most of the time when you go to the supermarket, there are not many of us will pick up a turnip because it's a very bland vegetable, but they will go very well with some kind of spicy coconut curry when you make them. And broccoli, and it's not necessary that you have to have Brussels sprouts or broccoli. You can go for cabbage, which is always a very, compared to all the vegetables, it's much cheaper than most of the vegetables. They are very good. And always, not just for SFN, for all vegetables, the best thing is to eat it along with other vegetables and fruits. Although all the studies that have been quoted, I have taken only from a lot of studies, they all talk only about that particular phytochemical which is isolated. I feel that that is only for disease, but we want to prevent disease. And if you want to maintain a healthy life, I think the best thing to do is to include them in your diet. Have a very varied diet, and one cannot but forget curcumin, which is your manjal. Lots of functions for that. It's just not about the brain, it's about immunity, it's about heart, it's about cancer. And many people, many studies also, they said that maybe the incidence of dementia or thing could be lesser in a country like India, because we use curcumin or manjal almost for everything. And so we should not forget that, keep using it. And resveratrol. So resveratrol, actually, when we talk about resveratrol, it's a polyphenol. So initially, when I spoke about antioxidants, phytochemicals, and polyphenols, I put them all together. And they are present in grapes, especially in the skin, more in the skin, and to a certain extent in the seed of the grape juice, peanuts, cocoa, berries. It doesn't matter if you don't get all these berries. Cranberries are available over here. So whenever there is an urge to snack, one can always choose snacks like cranberries and grapes. And also it's not necessary that you should have grapes only as grape juice. You can have it as grapes also. So as what I said, if you're going to take a glass of grape juice, you're going to increase the sugar content, although you will be getting the resveratrol. But if you take it as grapes, you're going to push some extra antioxidants and some fiber also. So we should learn to look at it that way. And green tea, much spoken about green tea, which has got lots of effects. It has got a high thermic effect. That's why people use it for weight reduction. But over here, people have found that the epigallocatechin gallate improves the cognitive performance. It also increases the glutathione levels, thereby preventing all the pro-oxidant damage over there. And it is very easy just to have a glass of green tea in the morning. And green tea, as we all know, should not be had with milk. It's going to bring down milk. That's why it's called green tea. And caffeine also, although it's not a polyphenol, it's a xanthine compound, a purine compound. And many people have found out that it can help cognition, in the sense that when ATP breaks up and the brain is working very hard, breaking up all the energy, sometimes this adenosine can cause energy depletion. So caffeine and theophylline, which is present in tea, are antagonists to adenosine receptors. So they may increase focused attention and enhance activity. Traditional food, something that we have forgotten, we should bring that back again. Ragi ambali is nothing but fermented ragi, koolun solluvom. That, and I cannot but really, it's very close to my heart, Paraya Sadam, which is actually like equal to gold. We have forgotten about it. Just put the rice, soak it overnight, allow it to ferment, and take it with nothing at all, little bit of salt, little bit of onion or chili or whatever. This will improve the gut health, prevent dysbiosis. So I think we should go back to our tradition. And fiber, of course. And there's something known as probiotic. A probiotic, the meaning of probiotic would be that any particular substance that you call as a probiotic should have live microorganisms, and they should fit a particular definition. So that is why they say, when we say a curd, the thyroid that we use at home, we are not allowed to call it as a probiotic because we don't know what microorganisms we have. That is definition. So that is why we should not be bound by definitions. The best probiotic is the curd that you ferment and use at your home. And I thought I will say more about prebiotics because prebiotics are the substrate that you give the microorganisms so that they can grow, they can flourish. So the more fiber you put in the diet, definitely the good bacteria will grow and prevent it. So these are all the references that I put up. The conclusion is looking at the overall connection between the nutrition and the gut-brain axis. The simple rule is that what is good for your gut is good for your brain. And I think we should listen to our gut feeling. Most of the times your gut tells you a lot of things, but we don't listen to that. Thus, an overall healthy diet will be good for the brain. So although I wanted to touch on many things. I just thought I will say like what could be said within this